All right. Hey, everybody. I hope you can hear me. So thanks so much for joining. I'm really excited to do this webinar with SalesIntel and talk about this topic of intelligently using ABM to enter a new customer market. So what we're seeing in the B2B world today is that businesses are really looking to accelerate revenue growth substantially. And this growth and seeing this trend can be really tough for marketing and sales. Every single year, our growth projections and revenue goals continue to increase, but our marketing and sales budgets remain flat. So businesses and revenue teams really need to strategize and find ways to drive more results by optimizing their outreach efforts and identifying more accounts that will fuel enough pipeline so they could reach this enormous projected revenue growth. And one of the biggest trends we're seeing in the B2B world is actually developing account-based marketing strategies by tapping into new customer markets. So there's three big reasons or benefits why businesses should consider expanding into new markets. One is to help diversify your customer base and finding new types of customers that will generate more business. And here you're really looking to answer who else outside of my traditional customer is likely to buy. Another reason is for expansion is to actually increase that average deal size and opportunity value. So how can you identify accounts that are likely to spend more or buy more of the solutions you offer? And a third big benefit is to help gain more of a competitive edge by identifying accounts that are maybe using your competitors and doing a win back, or finding accounts that are showing enough buying signals that they're in market to buy and getting in front of them before your competition does. So great benefits for expanding into new markets. So today, Manoj and I are going to discuss how you can use ABM to enter into a new customer market. And there's four key areas that we want to discuss today. The first is to identify a stronger ideal customer profile, which is going to be really helpful to reveal which market you could be entering to. Then we'll talk about how you can identify the right buying group and contacts, the group of contacts and buyers within your ideal customer. The third is ensuring data quality for your ABM strategy. And this is where having both the AI and human in the loop becomes very powerful. And finally, we'll go into how to create content that's targeted and personalized when you're actually engaging and reaching out to these ideal buyers. So let's go ahead and get started with the first bullet point over here on identifying your ideal customers. So whether you're looking to, go into a new market, when you are looking to go into a new market, one of the really key pieces of doing so is having a solid understanding of your existing customers. And you do that by developing a strong ICP. And this is where AI becomes very powerful for your business. So traditional ICPs leverage a lot of first-party data. And this is information you might have on your existing contacts, leads, or account objects. And most of this data is comprised of firmographic or demographic information. And although it's a good start to creating an ICP and understanding your customers, the challenge that most businesses face is that applying this basic criteria ends up casting a very wide net of accounts that you should target. And there's not a whole lot of information you can use to further prioritize for ABM. So what businesses are starting to do now is leverage AI technology to develop a stronger ICP. And this is where you can use a lot more third-party data to understand your customers. So information like a company's growth over time can help understand the financial stability of businesses that buy from you. Knowing what tools and technologies they use will show the level of maturity of their tech stack and maybe what tools complement solutions you offer. hiring trends can reveal a lot around the positions that exist within an organization or where businesses are investing resources for upcoming potential projects. And intent and behavior information is great insights to use to understand your customers' business needs and the types of solutions they're researching online and on your website today. So the outcome of an AI-driven ICP is less volume, but the quality is much higher. And then you're using a lot more precision when actually identifying the accounts that you should target in your ABM strategy. So once you have an understanding of your ideal customers, this is how you can actually use AI to reveal the right market or new set of customers that you should be targeting. And so it's sort of like Netflix, making recommendations on shows you should watch or movies you should watch that are from a completely different genre. So similar to that, you can use AI to identify new industries or sub-industries and even niche businesses that have very similar profile fits and business needs that are also likely to invest or maybe implement something, one of your solutions. You can also identify new regions and territories that have a strong population of accounts with very similar tech stacks and hiring trends and growth rates. And it can really reveal new types of customers in an untapped market or region around the world. And you can also use AI to really figure out segments within your accounts that have a higher likelihood to spend more or buy more because they have greater business needs or maybe new projects and initiatives within their organization where they need more from your business and more solutions that you can offer. But once you've even identified this ICP and this set of target accounts, it's really important for you to understand the people. And it's usually not just one person that's likely to buy from you. It's a group of buyers, a buying center, which is what you need to identify. So I'm actually going to hand it over to Manoj at SalesIntel to discuss how you can identify the right groups of buyers once you actually have that set of target accounts.
Thanks, Nida. So everyone, as Nida identified the problem, right? Most of you are, I'm assuming, either in the sales or marketing or in the growth department of your companies. Every quarter, every year, your boss comes to you and say, this year, the quota is 30% more than your previous year. And by the way, your budget still stays the same, right? So how do you keep up with that? And that's where the tools that we have in our hands, with AI, and we'll talk a little bit about, the limitations of AI, because AI, is not, be all and all in this, B2B world. So the three pillars that I see for you to be successful in identifying the new markets are, you go and find the companies, what we call the ICP, your ideal customer profile, to see if you go to an adjacent market or a new industry, are there enough buyers there, right? And as Nida mentioned, the old school identification of ICP was based on your firmographics and technographic data. Now you have tons of data available, and sifting through this data manually is almost impossible, right? And that's where Mintigo, our partner, has put this amazing AI engine that helps you identify, okay, in this market, if we go, what's the total ICP that we have, the market size that we have, and within that market size, who's ready to buy today, right? Which is very, very powerful. We come in on a second pillar, which is, hey, you have identified the right companies that are in your target market or in the adjacent market that you're going. Now, within those companies, who makes the buying decisions, right? Back in the days, 10, 15 years ago, there was only one buyer, right? You know the boss, you make the call, you develop a relationship, and bingo, you potentially have a business deal there, right? So the salespeople were being hired based on their power, based on the value of their Rolodex. We are in a different age altogether now, where the decisions are not made by just one individual, right? Gartner did a study where they say there are 7.4 individuals that get involved on an average in a B2B buying decisions, right? So how do you go and find the right contact information for those, right? That's a second pillar that I will dive deeper into. So, whether it's a buying group of 3, 5, or 7, or 9, now that you're focused on an individual account, right, or a limited number of accounts, it's very, very critical for you to make sure that you have the high quality data, the contact data for those individuals. You have the contact data available where the titles, the emails, the phone numbers are all verified, right? And the second, there's a completeness of the group available, right? If you're selling a software, let's just say, a marketing automation platform, you'll be amazed that there will be a developer who will get involved, because at the end of the day, the developer has to do the integration with the rest of the systems, right? So you need to make sure that you're targeting your message, your brand message, to your email message, to the right buyer within that company. And the accuracy of data is super important. That's where we come in. We combine the man and the machine, we call it, right? The AI and the human power together to make sure that the quality of the data, which is a foundation for your contact and your company, is provided, right? How do we do that? We realize that AI alone cannot do 100% of the job, especially in the contact side, because the contact data is changing, at what, 3% a month rate, right? So what we do is we process massive amount of data through the AI engine, but then we have human researchers that are making sure that the contact data that comes to your sales and marketing team is 100% pristine, right? The data has been validated on the web to make sure that the person still works there. We verify the email as well as the phone number to make sure that you have the right avenues to reach that person. And the last pillar after that, Nida and I both can share with you, is the content, right? You have the right companies. Now you're identified within the right companies, in that industry that you're going to target. You have the right context. And now what content do you service them, right? Obviously, you need to make sure that your content is industry specific. It resonates to the industry that you're targeting. And in the world that we are living in, ABM, your content is also specific to an account, because not all companies in an industry are going to be the same, right? Some may have, differentiation in terms of the technologies that they have installed. Some may have differences in terms of the size of the organizations, right? Or the product that they sell. So your message has to resonate to an account. And finally, you have to, what we have seen, companies that adopt the ABM, they go to the persona level, right? So the message that they're sending resonates to the persona. And I would love to get, Nida, your views on what are you seeing when it comes to content?
Yeah, I think like you nailed it, right? Being specific to the industry and count and persona is super important. I think one of the hottest trends right now is also leveraging a lot of intent data, and that's third-party intent as well as first-party intent data to understand what type of content should you surface when. So if accounts are actually starting to research, instead of sending something very broad and generic, some middle of funnel or bottom of funnel assets can be important. So it's not just having kind of like top of funnel, but you need to think about exactly where buyers are in their journey, but then also where are they in the sales process? So fueling your sales teams with assets that can help accelerate deals down the pipeline is also equally as important. So case studies, reports, things like that can be very helpful when building out a content strategy. It's really making sure you have content for each area of the buyer's journey.
That's interesting. Yeah, I totally agree with you. So you almost are dealing the two dimensions, right, of content. One is based on an industry account and persona base, and second, you are developing the content based on the stage of buying journey, right? The funnel, if you will, in the sales funnel, where an individual is or where the company is in the buying cycle.
Yep, exactly.
That's great. That's great. So I think these pillars, and I'll have Nida conclude it here, but these pillars of 3 pillars, C pillars, I call it, your companies, your contacts, and your content, at the end of the day, the foundation for that is quality, right? Back in the days when we did not have these ABM strategies to target our market, sales and marketing folks, they used to just spray and pray, right? One message used to go to everybody, the same message is going across, all different levels of leads. Now that we have become more focused, the quality of data becomes that much more important, because you're only targeting handful of companies, and so you want to make sure that you know as much about that company as well as the people that you're targeting within those companies, right? And that's why the quality of data, the importance of the quality of data has been paramount to the success of the ABM programs.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a couple of additional things to remember is when you are tapping into a new customer market, you have to know that growth is not going to happen overnight. It's in phases. It's an iterative process, just like every campaign you launch or every program or outreach sales does. You roll something out, you measure it, you test, you learn, you optimize. So it's important to have your metrics in place and monitor how your new market expansion is performing and make adjustments as you need. Also, something else that's important is making sure that marketing and sales is completely aligned on developing and executing a solid plan for this market expansion. You can't have marketing target one type of new industry and sales not really being prepared for that. So make sure both teams are coming together and align on that plan. Enabling these teams, your revenue teams, with all of the insights on who these ideal customers are in this new market is extremely important. So using that AI to explain, like, these are the actual tools, technologies, hiring trends, and insights that this new market is showing can help them guide their messaging, guide how they engage with these accounts. So it's very important to be completely transparent with them on what this customer market looks like. And then, like Manoj talked about, sourcing the right contacts within the buying group is very, very helpful. So, a lot of times customers or businesses might think, well, once marketing starts generating leads and those leads respond, I'll then engage or I'll have sales follow up. That is not the way that's going to help you reach that pipeline goal faster. So the more you could actually fuel your sales teams with the right people to engage with, they're basically getting like 5 or 10 steps ahead in actually being able to engage and convert the leads into potential pipeline. And then also just having very clear targeted messages for your ICP is also important. I mean, these days, everything is around personalization. So typical generic messages are no longer working. Think outside the box too when you're actually developing campaigns. You have to think outside of emails and outbound calls and so on. You really need to have like a multi-channel approach when going after accounts when it comes to ABM. So these are 5 points to consider when tapping into new markets. And of course, if you ever want to have any kind of one-on-one conversations, we're also both available to help you guys out.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. There was definitely a lot of great information in there. We wanted to take this time to open up for a short Q&A. So if you all have any questions, please just feel free to pop those into the chat window. Give people a second to do that.
I'm happy to answer any questions. Like if you come up with any questions, I'm on LinkedIn. Connect with me, as well as my email is very simple: manoj@salesintel.io. Feel free to contact us, and we'll be happy to help you. One of the area, it's a little infomercial about SalesIntel. One of the areas where companies are choosing SalesIntel once they have identified the right ICP is our research on demand service, where our researchers will go in and find the right contacts for you if you don't find it anywhere else, right? We have massive amount of data, 3+ million contacts that are human verified, about 70 million contacts that are machine processed. But if you don't find the contact data in there, we have over 650 researchers now who will almost provide you a concierge service to make sure that your sales and marketing teams are equipped with the right contact. So between Mintigo providing you the right ICP and SalesIntel providing you the right context, I think you can get your ABM process started, ABM program started. Nida, any last minute thought from you?
Yeah, no, I'm completely more than happy to jump on calls with you guys too. I think, there's so many new markets out there that businesses are expanding to, whether it's moving from SMBs to enterprise or tapping into new regions and countries. I mean, there's tons of things to explore. So if anybody out there is just looking for a way to brainstorm and strategize which market could make the most sense, I'm more than happy to offer some consulting there and talk about what's worked for me as a previous Mintigo customer and what's working for a lot of other B2Bs that we're engaging with today. So please don't be shy and hesitate to reach out.
All right, doesn't look like anybody has any questions. Well, thank you both so much, and thank you everyone for attending.